Nick, thank you very much, and the SNWW staff for another Doc Talk. And Miss Doc, I'm great to have you back in. I see my friend Andy Dolich. He's going to be called upon. I'll have to pay him, send him a gift certificate, but he's too invaluable to ignore. I'm here in Calgary, Dr. Lashbrook in Calgary for the Calgary Stampede, just another event. And I'm going to be watching a little game tonight called the World Cup. And I don't care what sport you're in, the globalization what soccer this time around in America has done for all sports is exciting as it's ever been in my lifetime. A real quick story: the company is 30 years old. I'm 77. I started, went to college in '66, and then masters and got my doctorate, and started teaching at Fort Hays, and then went on to be assistant AD at Missouri, compliance and academics. There was no NIL then. AD at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, when the basketball line was mandated for the NCAA, and then went to University of Alaska Fairbanks, where we started an exchange program with Russia. The wall went down in Germany and got the global bug as far as what we can do as a company. I turned down Western Michigan and started how to be an agent with Jim Steiner, Jerry Rice's agent, and I had a lot of success in 3 years. And then I lost a highly recruit named Ryan Leaf out of Washington State. Lee Steinberg got him, and I decided that this Yahoo dial-up internet was coming in, and Jerry Maguire movie came out. We started a company, How to Be a Sports Agent. Today, 30 years later, we have over 30,000 graduates from 164 different countries, 40 some courses. We're global, and we're going to stay global, and we're going to keep growing all over the world. We hope today you learn a lot from people that have been in the business for a long time. Nick will stay afterwards to ask any questions. There's no upsell here, an opportunity for you to ask questions for people in sports. I've always said with our partnership with the master's and doctorate, it really opens up 1,000 doors you don't have, no matter how much you love sports. Now with college athletics becoming so professionalized, it's just exciting. Mushtaque has a much different background than I do, but it's global. He's been a faculty member for years, and he's got a great story. And Mushtaque, besides being here, you may bore yourself. We'll have to tell the same story. But assuming you went to high school, I'd like everybody in this room to hear your story and what you do now. And we'll throw some questions at you. I'm probably going to take some time to introduce Andy Dolich after you speak, just so they know who else is in the room. And then we're going to go take your questions. This is about you asking questions, career strategies. My philosophy is get paid for your passion. And the people in the room, Andy and Mushtaque and I have always got paid for our passion and never left. And that's what this company is all about. Mushtaque, thanks for coming in, my friend. There's more than cricket going on tonight. So go ahead, and volleyball. Go ahead with your introduction.
Thanks, Doc. I mean, it's a great pleasure to be here with you and those who are watching on and listening on and have eager to participate. Yeah, I'm from the Caribbean. So in our neck of the woods, we are from the Commonwealth. So cricket, yes, is a big sport. And yes, but we still love our soccer, or what we call, in our neck of the woods, we say football.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
cricket is one of our major industry in the Caribbean, and hence we do it. I think one of the best in the region. But nonetheless,
Yes.
I'm here to engage and to be part of the process. What about me? I actually and still is a volunteer in sport, and I like what you said, Doc, being paid for your passion. My passion was to educate, and I was a school teacher up until 2007 in that way. And being a school teacher gave me an opportunity to interact with young individuals, with adolescents who trying to find their focus, know where they want to go, don't know where they want to go, sorry, but looking for ideas and guidance. And that opportunity as being a school teacher allow me that. Being in sport, I grew up in a sporting village, a very small village in one of my community from Trinidad and Tobago. I said I'm from the Caribbean, but more specifically Trinidad and Tobago. And coming from these small communities, nobody knows that somebody will evolve, or when somebody will evolve as a sporting hero. In my case, I evolved as a sporting administrator. Not, as I said, my formal training, my first set of educational background was in civil engineering. So I taught civil engineering studies for 25 years at the community college in Trinidad and Tobago. But alongside doing that, Doc, and my colleagues here, sport was always our passion.
Yeah.
Cricket, I played cricket first. I also played volleyball. But along even that, sport right on where I live, there's a badminton court, a badminton facility. So I played badminton, I played table tennis. So recreationally, I've played almost, well, not any, but a few of these sports.
Right.
But in administration, what being involved in sport administration allow me that second pleasure to continue working in the field, which is our passion.
Yeah.
Sport, education and sport. And hence, I started being more engaged in sport, volleyball, because in front of my house in the community where I used to live had a volleyball court, one of the only 2 volleyball courts in the country. So I should evolve, excuse me, something to do with volleyball. And then I did that. I played club volleyball, never made a national team, but I engaged administration nationally. And then I went globally, as you said. From there, I became Caribbean president, trying to build the capacity of volleyball in the Caribbean. Then in the continent, the North Central American continent, I became vice president there. And hey, at one point in time, 4 years ago, I was vice president at the International Volleyball Federation. So now, board member.
Yeah, real quickly, I want to ask, and I'm going to ask Andy the same question because we're in a historic time. What is soccer, this World Cup soccer? I watched the late Lamar Hunt start soccer way back, including Kansas City, but I want your effect on volleyball and cricket. What does this World Cup have an impact on sports in general, even from the Caribbean?
It's nobody is away from the television right now.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a game, everybody is glued to the television, in the bars, in the sports clubs, any public arena.
Yeah.
Football is like, hey, soccer, as we say, is their passion at the moment. They live for it. It's I mean, the sport of football or soccer is the biggest sport in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I just learned through watching the match Portugal versus Spain that since World Cup started, in this last game, there were 50 million paid spectators who watch football, soccer, right?
No, it's unbelievable.
So it's unbelievable, yes. 50 million live audience.
No, I'm in shock, and I thought I knew everything. Let's pass it on. I want Andy, seriously, I appreciate our relationship, and thanks for surprising me, Dave. But this is a historic time, and you and I in the same age historically. But give a short background of what you did. Get fascinating, and then I want to ask that same question to you about this World Cup because this is transformational to me. But give your introduction, please, and thank you for coming in. Unmute yourself, Andy.
Myself, which I don't do very often. So I do have a question for our guest speaker. Who is the greatest volleyball player in the history of Trinidad and Tobago?
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead. Mushtaque, go ahead.
We have, for my era, I would say is a guy named Alvin Mohan.
This is all to win bar bets. I like trivia questions, and for those people in sports, there's so many great ones, especially with World Cup, which we'll talk about. How about Shannon Thompson?
Right. So I was going to, there's Shannon Thompson, but from the female side of it, right now we have a Turkish player who got naturalized and playing for Turkey.
Right, and we'll talk about, I'm sure you will talk about, and Lynn will talk about the incredible opportunities and, you know, the massive growth of women's sports as we speak, changing literally by the nanosecond and the opportunities that has around the world.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
definitely.
Andy, surprise us. So give us a short version.
Okay, here's a short background. I'm a Brooklyn-born wise ass. I have no innate intelligence. I moved to Long Island. That's spelt Longisland. I never lived in the Hamptons. And I went to American University in Washington, D.C., thinking that I was going to get a degree in government and international relations. I realized very quickly that that wasn't my passion. That wasn't where I had any interest. And I was a decent athlete. I was the last guy on the bench, non-scholarship at AU for basketball, and we were pretty decent. And I heard about the first sports management program in the United States. Essentially, the idea of Walter O'Malley, who bought the Brooklyn Dodgers for $825,000. $825,000. Today, they're worth, help me out here, Lynn, $10 billion or something like that. Anyway, O'Malley saw the future. This was in the mid-50s and said, I believe there is an industry in the business of sports, not on the player side. And he went to Columbia. He asked them to start a program. They laughed at him. They said, we're Columbia University, Mr. O'Malley. We don't do sports management. Leave us. And he said, how about if I endow the entire program? And they went, now there's a really good idea. But that never happened. The Giants and the Dodgers moved west. And if you can believe this, the furthest west team in baseball at that time was the St. Louis Cardinals. Just think about the growth of sports, the St. Louis Cardinals. Major, longer story behind how they picked San Francisco and LA and the success that we see today. Got my degree, and you need to do an internship before you get a degree in sports management. I have two older brothers, one who became a chemist, the other who became a surgeon. And my parents looked at me and said, you can't play in the NBA, you're too small. And I said, no, that's not what this is about. This is about working for teams in the front office on the business side. So I worked for the Philadelphia 76ers as my first job. And I would give you guys a trivia question. What is the incredible number that is represented by the Philadelphia 76ers? We won't answer this now, and the Golden State Warriors. And they both have records of team records of a season that stand to this day. And then I went to the Professional Box Lacrosse League. Nobody knows what that is. The Washington Capitals of the National Hockey League, the Washington Diplomats of the old North American Soccer League. And when I watch how many billions of people are watching the games and what the audience will be in a few hours, right? What will that audience be? General manager of the Washington Diplomats. We had the great Dutch national, Johan Cruyff and Pele and Beckenbauer. I'm almost done, Lynn. Just give me a few
you're
more
good.
minutes.
I love you, Andy.
Then I was hired by the Oakland A's in 1980, and they were bought from Charlie Finley. Again, longer story, by the Haas family. They own a fairly successful denim company called Levi Strauss. Perhaps you've heard of them. Perhaps you're wearing them right now. They bought the team for $11.7 million in late 1980. 15 years with the Oakland A's. We went to the World Series 3 times. We beat the Giants. We also had an earthquake in the middle at the beginning of that. And then went on to become, president of business operations for a football team called the San Francisco 49ers. Was fired by the son of the owner, but I had a contract, always have a contract, right? And then I've gone into the consulting business and teaching. And if anybody's interested, this Wednesday night at Stanford School of Continuing Studies, this is a perfect connection based upon why I jumped on today. I am teaching a 6-session course called So You Want to Work in the Sports Business. That's me. That's 56 years of stuff. I have a lot of business cards and a lot of autographed merchandise, which will take care of my kids in their future. Thank you.
And Andy, post your book. Type it in up there so they know about your book because he's and Andy's. And by the way, they were my Kansas City A's. Andy took them away from me, Charlie Finley. Thank
Yeah,
you, Andy.
well, this is, the only city in recent memory, or maybe forever,
Yeah,
that has lost three professional teams. The Raiders go to
I
Vegas,
know.
the Warriors move across the bay
Yeah, yeah.
to San Francisco, and the A's are going to play in a new stadium, which is under construction in Las Vegas in
Thank you.
2028. So,
And Andy, say in a little bit, I'm having everybody put that gold glove up if you have a question. I have several questions. I'll start with Mustafa. And I go back. I've always said go global, go home. This time around, whether it was the men's Olympic hockey or the World Baseball Classic, went to the professional women's softball, as Andy mentioned, women's sports. We were up in Buffalo for the NHL draft. I had Chris Burkett, the vice president of the Professional Women's Hockey League. They keep expanding. I've never seen anything like it, men and women's sports all over the world. And with the transfer portal and international recruiting and the college rules or no rules, but there's so much going on. It's a different world than any of us dreamed when we're in sports, but it's something very, very special. My question back to you, to Mustafa, what do you hope to accomplish in an 8-week course for those that want to work in sports? You're in an international situation. And I know Andy teaches at Stanford. I know I've been teaching for 60 years. I try to get everybody to do informational interviews. I believe there's a lot of opportunities out there you don't know about. And I always use the example, Mustak, a guy that was assistant strength coach at Missouri in 1980, and now he's executive vice president of the Green Bay Packers, and he does salary cap. Back in 1980, there was no salary cap. There were caps, but no salary caps. And my point is,
yeah, those
Mustak,
caps.
yeah, right. Mustak, talk about what you want to accomplish in 8 weeks in a course that tries to touch international with those that are looking for opportunities. Talk about it.
Yeah, as you know, well, we have the sports management program that we do in SMMWW, and the thing about it is that sports management is not sports specific. It's about sport generally, and whatever sport and discipline that you are in, you can join our program, and that program guides you into many aspects that will prepare you for any administrative any sport you want to get in administratively. So we have, we touch a bit about marketing. In how do you do a marketing plan? Or how do you brand? How do you activate your brand? We talk about event planning and event management. How to raise funds, because the aspect of fundraising and being financially sound is something very you don't have enough finance for anything that you want to do. So in the sports management program, we are encouraging students, athletes, whatever sport and discipline you are in, to join us, where we can guide you, where we can help you build capacity in terms of your sport administrative needs, to help you prepare for going forward in whatever discipline you might be.
So our secret sauce is information interviews. And Andy, when we started, we required 2. I've had students do 30 or 40, and we always send a Starbucks gift card. And I think it's our secret sauce. Andy, you're one of the few colleagues I know that's cross-pollinated different sports. You're in sports. Talk a little bit about one sport to the other, how easy or how difficult it was. Our friend Brian Harper that teaches for us at Minnesota Vikings just took a new job with the Golden Knights, and I was down there for Stanley Cup, and he's now working for them. He left a very successful job. He handled the Super Bowl promotions every year. He's worked with the NFL during Super Bowl as well as with the Minnesota Vikings. He goes completely into hockey, still learning. You crossed over a lot of times. Talk to our students about one sport to the other and the similarities and maybe the challenges. Unmute yourself, Andy.
On Mustafa's bad side, so I did this. So I would say that up until red card mania of the last few days, the World Cup has proven that one of the last town squares of joy and togetherness left in our world is sport. And sport, as Mustafa now knows, is not just sport, it's sports and entertainment. It's a unique entity which is growing. And it is on the local side, regional, state, country, and what Mustafa will be talking about, the globe. I would say the real key, very, very simply, Lynn, is look at these things right here, even if they're bloodshot. The eyes are the windows of a person's soul. You want to have as many interactions with a live human being at any level that you can, no matter what the sport. We have so many devices today, technologically speaking, that can get us anywhere and anytime. And I would just say that most important to me, working through all of these sports, is the job was to increase revenue for the team. And we won't go into all of it, but starting with the 76ers, it was to put people in the seats of the worst team in the history of the NBA. I'm giving away the answer to my earlier question. I worked there when they were 9-73. That was 9-73. I also worked for the Golden State Warriors when they were, I wasn't there that time, but I worked for the Warriors when they were 73-9. And in both circumstances, the job on the business side, think of it as a pyramid. Up at the top is ownership, more and more complicated every day. One side of the pyramid bottom is the team, the actual product, and the other side, as you both know, and as everybody on this call knows, is the business side, the revenue generators. If you are not comfortable generating revenue and being told no 50 times a day, then it's probably not the business for you. And you should also think about all of your friends who are telling you, hey, could we switch jobs? And you go, yeah, could we switch salaries? Could we switch the time we work at our job? If you work for a baseball team, you know, that's 81 home games. And I would expect you as a manager to be there all the time. So the real key is the humanity of this business and understanding that whether it's hockey, whether it's the new women's professional league, whether it's fast pitch softball, whether it's the NFL or the USA playing in a game tonight, which has mesmerized an entire country, it is the inner passion that sports fans have for the product. And so I would just always say for people that want to get in the business, do you really have it in your DNA? Or is it just something that you think is really cool?
Andy, thank you. Ms. Todd, my question here, and I want anybody who wants to raise their hand, we're in here for you. We don't stay forever if there's no questions. You get a chance to ask these gentlemen some questions, and I'll go to Ryan here after my last comment here to Andy and Mushtaque. Mushtaque first. I call it the cross-pollination of talent discovery and the cross-pollination of sport discovery. There's kids in your country, in Trinidad, that have never played American football, but flag football's coming. There's athletes there. There's athletes in all over the world that have never discovered a sport. And there's coaches and universities looking for athletes that have never been discovered. I think that's one of the most exciting cross-pollination. Usain Bolt, who was very fast from Barbados, is going to play cricket in the Olympics. I use that as an example. Each of you, I want your wisdom comments before we take our questions. Your comments about this globalization of cross-pollination of talent discovery as well as sport discovery. There's sports they've never discovered. There's talent that's never been discovered. Your comment to each of you.
Mustafa, you go first.
Yeah.
Well, there are lots of similarities in sport. And you know that, for instance, all racket sport, if somebody plays tennis or they plays badminton or table tennis, there's a lot of squash similarities. The biomechanics of somebody who runs fast, like Usain Bolt, can also play football. And that I'm talking soccer, or even American football, because the sport is about running inclusive of all the different talent. So yes, there are a lot of cross-pollination. We talk about cricket in the Caribbean, and baseball has certain similarities.
There you go.
A lot of similarities. So yes, there are opportunities for cross-pollination. There are opportunities for finding new talents.
Yeah.
But something that Andy said earlier, and that is about the cross-pollination in terms of the entertainment industry of sport. Sport is no longer sport in terms of technical ability too, but sport has broken the barrier when it comes to the entertainment industry.
Absolutely.
So that's something also that we must consider.
Thank you very much. Andy, your comments, a different terminology, but I think the same answer. Go ahead.
Well, the world is so small. So you have all these teams that have left the Coliseum in Oakland. And the Raiders played there, the A's played there, multi-use stadium. And the 2026 Major League Cricket playoffs and there's a team playing at the Oakland Coliseum.
Right.
So if that doesn't answer the overview that Mushtaque just gave, you can't even conceptualize it.
Yeah.
I would go back just a bit in terms of the globe and not just the United States. And we had PE, right? Physical education in school.
Yes.
And to me, in today's world, PE means play everything as a youngster. Play everything. Because parents, coaches, companies, they will take a young person 6 years old and start specializing them in sport, whether it is in Trinidad, whether it's in Eastern Europe, South America, or wherever. No, because you're going to grow up. The tall kid as a fourth grader is going to be the shortest kid in seventh grade. So play everything so you can enjoy it, first of all, for later in life, because how many people are going to become professional athletes or get a college scholarship? So play everything and play it for joy. And then your life, like LeBron James said, okay, I make $100 million a year off the court. I want some joy in my next year or two. And, you see it again in the World Cup, where people who are very, very smart would say, I'm trying to remember which college Lionel Messi went to. No. It is learning to play at an early age and using that passion. That's what I've seen. And I see it the same way on the business, marketing, advertising side. If you love it, if you get up after having a kick in the butt and not selling something, then you've got an opportunity in this business, no matter where it is on the face of the globe.
Andy, well said. As I said in the Seattle, the soccer, the Belgium one last week, I said to myself, I'm going to counseling because I would have played soccer. We just didn't have it in Kansas City, Kansas. And I was asked to be the manager on the football team, but I didn't have soccer to go to. So I'm still going to counseling for that. Let's take some questions here. We'll go. I think Eric was before Ryan. Eric, introduction, questions for these two very special guests, if I may. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lashbrook, and thank you, gentlemen, for being on today. I'm doing a PhD in intercollegiate athletic administration, it's higher ed leadership, but with a focus on intercollegiate athletic administration. And I'm curious as to, and Mr. Mohammed may have a better answer on this one because he's from an international standpoint. International or universities overseas, they don't seem to have the athletic departments like we do here. And I'm wondering if you see that changing, because of course, a lot of the student athletes here are foreign, international student athletes that come tennis, for instance. But I'm curious as to how you see that maybe in the future.
JD, great question. Being a phys ed kinesiology, there was no sport business. You were at Ohio. That was the first one. And you had the opportunity to talk to business of sports. A great question.
Right. And now there's 450 programs in the United States and any number of quality institutions like yours.
Right. No, I know. Well, thank you. But I think we're special. Okay, Mohammed, your first comment on that.
Yeah, Eric, the thing about it is that sport in America is professional. Sport in the Caribbean, sport elsewhere is not professional. So the athletes don't see, or the universities don't see the sport, the business side of it. They and these smaller islands, they don't have enough competition. You may have one university in an island, very few
Yeah.
have more than one. So therefore, there is limited competition. So there is limited possibilities to engage that number of athletes in different sport. However,
Right.
that has been changing in a very in an incremental way, but very small way, because the certain universities in the region, and specifically in the region, there is a University of the West Indies. University of the West Indies is a university that has campuses in Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, and Guyana. So there are some what we call the regional in the inter-university games, right? In terms of that. So, but it must be driven by a market. So if there's a need,
Yeah.
you will have it. And what we have found is that all our athletes who develop at the school level, the high school level, they are offered a lot of scholarships. We in Trinidad, we have probably over 150 to 200 scholarships in athletics, swimming, volleyball,
Right.
basketball, and now soccer, you know. So and these athletes see that is their career pathway. So
Right.
they go to America to develop, and we have had,
Right.
as you said, Ato Bolan, who is now working with NBC, I think, in terms
Right.
of commentary, but he was
Right.
a former Olympian. So yes, there is
Let
that
me
is. I
let
assume
me,
that.
Andy, get back to you on the same conversation with NIL, transfer portal, international recruiting, the revolution going on in college athletics, and this travel of the illumination of America for all these countries that are traveling over their kids. Your comment on that college as an incubator of attracting international athletes that move up the ladder in the pros.
Well, it's always easier to get into a business that's up and running and
Yeah,
has developed
there
quality
you
over
go.
the
Yeah,
years. So I don't know how many thousands of colleges there are in
yeah,
North America, but there's a bunch. So
yeah.
if I'm one of those international students or athletes, Eric, that you're looking at, they can come to the United States. If you just look at the rosters of, I live near Stanford University, 28 or 32 sportsmen and women. If you just look at the countries that a lot of those athletes are from,
Yeah, good point.
it's a world atlas.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
why, I'm not speaking against it, but why should I try to create that environment and that financial underpinning that Mustafa was talking about when I can just go to these schools
right. Good
in
point.
North America? And I think
Great.
that is going to continue for a long time. And
Yeah,
that is now drilling down to high school and
yeah,
even middle school
yeah.
for these great athletes.
It's
The number one pick in the recent NBA draft went to the Napa Christian High School for a company called Prolific Prep. Nobody
right,
ever heard of him,
right.
and he moved up the ladder, and he was the NBA's number one pick. So
Well,
again, I would say that the growth of college
yeah,
sports and high school sports will still be significant here, not to say that it won't start to grow in other
right,
countries, but the
right,
investment that you would have to make to create the momentum is significant.
right. Good insight. Let's go to Ryan with your introduction and questions or comments for these old people in here that teach.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lashbrook. Well, I just want to introduce myself and first off say thank you so much to Mushtaque Mohammed and to Andy for taking the time to answer our questions. Um, so my name is Ryan Enta. I'm from Toronto, Ontario. I am currently enrolled in the hockey scouting and GM course, and my background is in insurance. So I guess my kind of question is when it comes to professional athletes, when they're leaving their domestic clubs or their professional teams and they want to represent their home countries internationally, in tournaments or in competition, how do international federations navigate like a complex like insurance handoff, to protect things like
Yeah,
the multi-million dollar club contracts against
right.
things like, I don't know, like injury and things like that?
Ryan, it's a great. I'll start with Mushtaque. Andy, I want your comments on this. I've always said I want somebody from Trinidad representing the Trinidad athlete playing for the 49ers. I mean that sincerely. There's so many cultural differences. But Muhammad, what do you see in this latest revolution on the business side of contracts, transaction, and professional sports? What's your comments on these federations? And I get Andy's comment.
No, I can't comment professionally on it, because I'm not engaged in that aspect of it, in terms of that to say that I know a lot about it. So I really can't comment on it. But most of the insurance for athletes are done based on who they are representing. You know, I don't know if So generally, I can't give a good feedback on that one.
Andy, your comments on the international scope of business and what's going on now, not just with athletes from different countries, but the NFL, we're going to Australia this year for a meet and greet. But talk about what you see with your colleagues out there that are still active in the globalization challenges out there with different federations.
Ryan, I commend you for being the best dressed person in the class, and I'm being serious that how you present yourself is always a major factor as you're looking for jobs, as you're thinking about building your network, and that would be NNN, network, network, network. And when you're finished networking, go network some more. And like Mustafa, I'm no expert in this, but if you look at the growth of professional sports teams and even the collegiate level, the level of expertise that they have of industry professionals that work for the organization or are consulting with the organization, they have abilities from A to Z. And I mean that sincerely. So when it comes to insurance, when it comes to injury, when it comes to, I think the word is globality. If not, we just invented it. But they have excellent insight into where they're going. And, back to this fascinating subject, what is the globe? The globe is a ball. Now, NFL people might get all upset and all that, but you look at what's happening now and what will happen in, 2 hours and 50 minutes or whenever the game kicks off, the world is a ball and it is expanding in every way possible so that organizations and individuals like yourself can have an understanding of what didn't exist 10 years ago and have it now. And, I always think about Allen Iverson, the great basketball player, and everybody knew him as AI. If I was his business manager 8 years ago, he would be the richest retired professional athlete in the world because we would have licensed AI. And people go, practice? I'm a multi-billionaire. I'm a trillionaire. And I mean that seriously. Always look over the fence and see what the future is. Whether it's AI, ChatGPT, ESP, not ESPN, but ESP is coming. So it's important to not be afraid to break eggs and figure out how you're going, and also look at how your organization, whether it's a team, a league, a company involved in sports, how it touches all the bases. Because if you're omitting something, you can be out of business in a short period of time.
Andy, I want to make a comment. You'll appreciate. We haven't talked in a while. It's been a crazy year. I definitely will call you tomorrow. I'd like to catch up and tell you what's going on. My
That'll
kids are in
cost
Abu Dhabi.
$500 an hour.
Yeah, I know it will. But I want to share with you, being an old kinesiology professor, there's 206 bones. Andy, you might not know this because you didn't study the kinesiology. I was an expert, but there's 206 bones in the body. Andy, do you know how many Olympic countries there are in the world?
Olympic countries. I think the world is 230 countries.
So the Olympic designated, just take a number, guess.
I will be wrong. I will say 152.
I tried to give you the answer. It's 206. Same as the bones in the body. Now, wait, It's an
Oh,
out-of-body
okay. I'm not very
experience.
bright. Yeah.
I know, and I make no bones about it. But I want to say
Oh,
this,
good
and
one. Good one.
yeah, thank you. But hear me out. Last comment here, if we don't have any more questions here, and I'll get Mushtaque in here. I want to go to Andy first, and Andy, I do appreciate you coming in. Andy, I've had a bet for 20 years that my Portland Trailblazers will be moving, and there's a big debate. And now a lot of people are starting to go, Mr. Dundon, who Stanley Cup winner, owns the Carolina Panthers, our Carolina Hurricanes. Andy, your comment on movement. Vegas and Seattle don't have an NBA team. We're going to the NBA Summer League next week. We'll have a lot of executives in there. It's kind of the who's who of basketball. I
Right.
just want your business comments on that. And then Mushtaque, your comments about our soccer tonight and what else is going on your island. But Andy, back to you. What's your comments
Well,
on NBA?
with the Oakland A's leaving, this
Yeah,
is a bit circuitous, the Oakland A's leaving to go to Vegas, and people go, okay, smart guy, if you were going to expand baseball, American baseball, by 2 cities, where would you go? And I'd say, well, first I'd go to Oakland, and second I'd go to Mexico City,
yeah,
which is
right.
the largest population, or number 2 in the world, that loves its
Yeah,
baseball. So if you look at the global aspect that we've talked about, in this conversation, look at those marketplaces. My Memphis Grizzlies, okay, I'll change hats. There's my Memphis Grizzlies hats. My Memphis Grizzlies, where I was president of business operations, they're thinking after 25 years
yeah,
playing in FedEx Forum, and FedEx is headquartered in Memphis and actually made that arena happen. They're thinking about moving. Looks like
yeah,
Seattle is right there, right at the top of the list.
yeah,
And I believe that Vegas will definitely have an NBA
yeah.
team, and that NBA team will be owned by ex-NBA players, along with some
I do too.
billionaire. I mean, what a perfect opportunity if you just look at the money that they've made, the contracts that
Yeah.
they have. And if you want to be in a sports and entertainment mode, be there. Don't play in an indoor stadium for baseball, which they're going to do.
But Andy, relocation, you don't have to share the wealth. You still got 2 more expansion opportunities. If you move 2 of those 3 teams, whether it's Portland, Memphis, or New Orleans, let's face it, I still think that they're going to
Right.
relocate before they expand. Mushtaque, any final comments? You can see this is not an All-American. You've been a superstar with us. Andy's been a super friend, and I need to get him involved. He's a professor at Stanford, and Andy doesn't know this, but it was Ohio University came up with the idea. Sportsman Worldwide. Naismith took a ladder and put up a peach basket. Andy, I took a career ladder and put up a website. Mushtaque,
And
your
I
final
helped
comment.
create the wave with Crazy George Henderson
There
on
you go.
October 13th, 1981 at the Oakland
I
Coliseum.
love you, man. God, you're good. You're still young, dang it. Mushtaque, final comments, and
Yeah.
Nick will come in.
No, you are. I could see the friendship between you and Andy. It goes way, way back.
Yeah.
I envy that friendship, Andy. But Andy, I want to invite
That's what sports does, Mustafa. You think
Yes.
about your friends that you met when you were growing up,
Yeah.
and the wonderful relationships that you have with them now through sport.
Sport is a network. Even through this forum that we have, the
Yeah.
Sports Management Worldwide, we have a network of participants that, as you said, global is, so I can
Yeah.
if I'm going to any country and I just say, hey, you are one of my former students, I send them an email and they look out for you, So yes, sports has done amazing thing for networking and being global. But Doc, you asked me something I would like to close with in terms of what is happening in my small country. My small country, Trinidad and Tobago, and its region, Milwaukee Bucks. I hope I am not marching on anybody's toes, but recently acquired a player from Trinidad, Malik Lewis. Check it out, follow him. Malik Lewis left Trinidad when he was 16, a coach found him, he's trained in Spain, and then he played professionally in Australia. This year he was drafted to play in Milwaukee Bucks in baseball, and NBA basketball. And that is one of the proud moments of Trinidad that I talk about, our small island that is contributing to the global sporting network. The other thing I want to say, Doc, is that, hey, the largest international federation is which one? You ask a trivia. I ask a trivia. Andy, which is it? Which is the largest
It's
international
cricket.
federation?
Cricket's big, Andy. There's money in cricket, Andy.
Yeah, Oakland Coliseum, come out and see cricket.
Yeah.
But the answer is, I mean, that's because of time. I'll give you the answer quickly. The International Volleyball Federation is the largest
Oh, I love you, man. I love it.
federation with 221 members.
I love it.
Yeah, right. And so, and the other thing, last one I want to talk about is that within the region, there are so many baseball players that comes from Curacao, Cuba, and Dominican Republic. But Curacao is one of the smallest nations that played in the World Cup in the United States and really has represented the region well.
Think about Cape Verde, which became an American favorite, right?
Yes, for sure, because they went further than Curacao. But knowing that Curacao and Haiti came from this region, the Caribbean region, Haiti, with all of the struggles that they're encountering, all the social unrest, they were able to play soccer in the World Cup, qualified, and did us proud from the region. So those are some of the, sorry?
Thank you. No, go ahead.
Those are some of these that the good news that we could share that coming out of the Caribbean. And of course, I want to invite everybody who are here. Andy, be a guest on my program, which starts next week. The sports management worldwide course.
And I'll invite you guys to be a guest at my Stanford class if I can find the money to pay you. And just one other point, guys. What is the number last year's season of international players in the NBA?
I don't know.
135. Think about that. 135 international players in the NBA.
From how many countries?
I don't know that, but a bunch.
So I asked you.
There were not 20 from Curacao or 10 from Trinidad.
No,
don't forget my 206, Andy, and I want to tell you this.
You gave it to me, and I blew it.
And online is the future because of scalability. It's Uber driver picking up a passenger, and when I get off the plane, the close one to the airport gets my business. We're in a revolution, Andy. Andy, you made my day. Nick, you're in charge of the rest. I got to go do family. They're waiting for dinner. We're at Calgary getting ready for the game. Andy, I'll call you tomorrow unless you're still hungover from tonight.
Oh, don't get stampeded. It's been a pleasure, and everybody's got to go to their watch parties pretty soon.
I know. Thank you very much. Thanks, Ms.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Nick, answer some questions, Nick. Thank you.
Anyways, thank you everyone for coming in. Mushtaque, thank you for coming in, spending time doing your busy schedule to come speak with some of our prospective students or people wanting to get into the sports industry. And thank you, Andy, as well, for doing the same. A little bit about sports management worldwide. You got to hear from our president and founder, Dr. Lynn Lashberg, who's been in the sports industry for over 55 years. He's been athletic director. He's been a sports agent for people like Brian Dawkins and Jerry Rice. He's been athletic director in multiple universities. He shared a little bit about what he did for hockey over in Alaska with the Russian exchange, and then also he had brought that passion over to teach people how to break into an industry. Because to be quite frank, if you don't know what you're doing, sports is a hard industry to get into. So that's why sports management comes in. We're bringing people like Mushtaque who have lived, breathed, and worked in the sports industry for multiple years with his wealth of knowledge to be able to guide you guys, not just some fancy lecture, but to hear from somebody that can really help you get as well. All of our graduates are able to put their instructors onto their resume. They'll be able to help you. If you form good relationships with them, opportunity may become about. We like to say we sharpen the tool in your toolbox for you to go out there to be able to create something on your own as well. Throughout the courses, we have a resume redesign service as well to help with that. And each alum gets a complimentary sports career strategies course, which goes further into the resumes, further into the cover letters, the application process, interview prep, all of those important skills, where to find jobs in specific areas that you may need to know. If you're interested, and it's not just with professional teams as well, this is also collegiate. There's a ton of colleges across the country. There's way more colleges than there are professional sports teams. So another good way to break into those industry is getting into the college athletics. And sometimes, depending on what role you want to do, it's depending on if you want to go up to an executive level as well. Some areas do require some sort of master's degree, depending on what you're looking at. We do have an online master's in sports leadership through a partnership with Concordia University of Chicago, which is less than $15,000, and which is about a third of where you'll find anywhere else. Plus, we help streamline the process for you, and we waive that application fee, which gets close to $200, depending on where you're at. And what university you're applying to. So that's all part of the process that we have as some of the partnerships that Sports Management Worldwide has for you as well. As Andy talked about earlier, and network, and network some more. We have these sports career conferences all over the globe. So next week, actually this weekend, in fact, we're going to Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League, where we'll hold our basketball career conference. This is where you get to meet GMs, executives. If you're interested in sales, those are people who are the execs in the sales businesses. All NBA teams will be there for their own respective teams as well. So being able to run into them while you're somewhere in Vegas and be able to network. You never know who you might meet, and you might be able to impress someone as well and give you a lead for a future job. We also just came back last weekend from the NHL draft over in Buffalo. So each year we hold it at the NHL draft or hockey career conference. We have a baseball career conference doing the, baseball winter leagues, winter meetings, and hopefully we have one this year, depending on the lockout situation with Major League Baseball. We do one at the Football Career Conference in February during the NFL Combine, and I know it's going to be in Indy for at least the next couple of years. So that's another great opportunity for you to meet with everyone who's in the football business will be there as well. We also do one at the Controller Valley Invitational during the MLS preseason, and I know due to the schedule change with MLS, with how they're going into more of the international schedule, we don't have a confirmed date and time for that yet, but we will be having that next year in 2027. So that's another, if you're interested in getting into the game of soccer and the business side, that's another opportunity for you to be. So as you can see, there's many different avenues and every different streets that you have in order to get sports. It's all about getting educated and, having conversations and not being afraid to sell yourself. Really getting your elevator pitch can do wonders for you because you can, the first impressions can mean something to people. So being able to get off on the right foot and be able to get out there and sell yourself in a way that makes someone says, I have to have this person. I would be dumb to not. I would lose money if I don't have this person. Find something that really makes you sparkle. Find something that makes that when you're talking to someone that they will always remember you, added value for whatever it is through free projects as well. Doing free work and presenting free work at a small scale, showing that you can do it at a scale, you can scale it with more resources is a great way for you to impress an executive to say, hey, this guy was able to do this on his own with no real benefits. And now imagine if he has the resources to do what he could do. So just little things to think about. But is there any questions that you guys have for myself before we get wrapped up today?
Nick, I just have one or two more points. Do I have time for that?
Of course, Andy.
Okay, so here's another book that you might be interested in. It's from a few years ago. I wrote it with a bunch of colleagues, 20 Secrets to Success for NCAA student athletes who won't go pro. And this speaks to exactly what you talked about, all the different entry points. And it's got a lot of insight into what we've just talked about over time, how you break through. And when you ask young people, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to become the general manager of the Montreal Canadiens. Oh, terrific, wonderful. There is one person that's that general manager. Where are the opportunities today? And I would just leave you with that. Think about the 11 T's, the letter T, affinity. These are things that I believe, looking over my time, that have crafted people's careers. Affinity, agility, mental agility, creativity, hilarity. There's not enough humor in the world today. Everything is, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. This is terrible. Honesty, humility, stuff. We don't find much humility in a lot of places, right? Not as much as we'd like. Loyalty, mobility, opportunity, simplicity, and what we will see in the next few days playing out in the World Cup and beyond. Unity. We can use more unity. Just think about those areas and maybe we'll follow up on that at some time. And I thank you for the opportunity to blab more than I should have. And I apologize, Mustafa, for taking anything away from you.
You did not. You added value, Doc. And I don't know if you said it, but honesty is one of the ones my key focus of operation in life.
Absolutely, honesty is one of those T's.
Honesty is my watchword, and if we operate with honesty as our basis of operation, the world would be a better place to live in.
Correct.
Absolutely. And I mean, and it just covered like different entry points as well. An example of that is last baseball winter meetings, we had the assistant director of baseball ops for the Tampa Bay Rays, Sammy Burley, come and speak during one of our panels. She shared a story that she started out in the ticket sales department as an intern, and she worked all her way up and crossed over from ticket sales over to baseball ops. And as Andy has alluded to, a similar outcome as well in his story, and kind of like just about how to go about things. So there's different opportunities. Don't opportunity is called opportunity for a reason. There's no end goal. There's no end goal for it. There's no promised land at the end. It's all about what you make out of the opportunity. And sometimes if you go above and beyond, more opportunity gets provided to you. And then you crush that, and then more opportunity gets provided to you. So you should always be looking to seek an opportunity instead of seeking comfortability. Because a lot of the times, some pathways you may not even know that you might actually need certain skill sets in order to get that big time job that you want as a GM. There's certain skill sets you learn how to sell something, or how to negotiate. I mean, that's a pretty big role, in the GM world. And if you have zero experience of negotiating, doing the different skills and through different departments, no matter if it's, specifically on, the player development side or anything like that, but those soft skills transfer over to anything in life, and not just in your job, just in your personal life as well, too. So
Yep.
thinking
Nick,
about all of that.
Nick, may I just add something to you in that, in terms of, as you said, adversities. COVID recently taught us a lot about adversities, and out of every adversity, there's an opportunity. So you, as you say, you can overcome hurdles, you get an opportunity, but don't see adversities as a stumbling block. See that an adversity, there's an opportunity. And you said about the story, hey, I never thought when I started and I got involved in sports administration that I would be a vice president of an international volleyball federation. And I would be responsible for over $100 million in the development fund that is at the International Volleyball Federation. And all of that was because I dealt with everything with honesty. So my leader, my president of the International Volleyball Federation, trusted me. So that I just want to share that with you, that do it with passion, and see the sky as your limit. Thank you for the opportunity, everyone.
Of course. Well, I hope you guys have a great day. If you have any other questions, we have career advisors on call that give a free sports career consultation, kind of figure out what path and what's the best path for you moving forward as well. You can email info@smww.com right there. If you're interested in giving a call to the office as well, I can also put that number into the chat as well for you guys to be able to have as well. With that being said, if you have any other questions, let us know. Email us, call us. We're here to help. We got people on call, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and enjoy the soccer game tonight.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.